for those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Donovan. I'm a QHHT practitioner as well as a channel. And today I wanted to talk to you about dandelions. I remember a time when I used to absolutely hate the fact that my yard was so full of dandelions. Like it's at this point, it's completely impossible to get rid of them. You would have to essentially burn the lawn down and reseed it. They are everywhere. And I used to feel so incredibly frustrated by that. This year, however, I was spending a lot more time out in the garden, especially with all of the thoughts that come up around food security when it came to COVID. And I was trying to plant as many vegetable gardens as possible. And I was really trying to get in tune to what would it feel like if I had to live here without connection to our modern agriculture system? What if I had to rely on the land of where I live? And I live in a small northern town in Canada. So our summers are really short and the winters get very cold very fast. So we don't have a lot of growing time, and it's not really possible to get a lot of extra time out of things like, like cold frames, which could get you through a more mild winter. So I was feeling really frustrated. And early spring, when I was looking around my yard and building in all of these new raised garden plots, I really looked at those dandelions in my front yard very differently, realizing that the ancestors of the land here would have been so incredibly tied to them. After a long winter of eating, your whatever you had stored or meat, like not having access to fresh greens. That early in the spring, that would have been the first thing that was available. It didn't have to be cultivated, it didn't have to be really found. They grew absolutely everywhere. And they really are very nutritious for you. And I learned a lot about that this year as well, that you can make tea from the flowers, that you can eat the leaves. The leaves are a little bit bitter. I kind of missed the early spring when they were supposed to be a little bit more mild, but I definitely was that person sitting in my front yard this year picking all of the dandelion flowers that I could find in order to make tea, which tastes amazing, by the way. It tastes like, it almost tastes like honey in itself. It's such a beautiful, light flavor. Um, so I had a whole new appreciation for this flower. Like so much relies on them. It's again, like I said, in early spring, there's not a lot that is in bloom up here. So many pollinators would be relying on access to an early flower that would grow absolutely everywhere. And the people that lived here would have done the same. So then I started thinking, what would God have said to this little dandelion when it was creating it, going over its purpose. And I could just feel this sense of this sense of importance on this flower. This, you're gonna be needed. And I need to make you as tough as nails, so strong that they'll never be able to get rid of you, because the people need you, the pollinators need you. I could just feel this strong sense of importance with this beautiful little flower. I can't even really see them as a weed anymore. They they are just a beautiful little yellow flower. So I've definitely started to make friends with them a lot more this year. We have honeybees as well, and that has really changed my perspective on a lot of things that I used to consider weeds, right? Like in the early spring, when I look out in my window and I see like a yellow lawn, I see food for pollinators. I don't see it as an annoyance. Even later in the year when it's like all turned to clover, I see the same thing. I see it as a food source, not as an annoyance, because it's not just a plain square sheet of grass. And I actually kind of feel like looking at a yard which is just a plain square green of grass is actually kind of boring to me now. Like, where's the diversity? I plant lots of flowers and herbs and stuff for the bees and pollinators as well, so that there is as much diversity as I can get in my yard. But anyway, so I felt so connected to them early spring. And lo and behold, I had a QHHT client go into a past life as a dandelion. I was completely blown away. I was sitting here honestly almost in like tears listening to her, be so connected to this flower because it had become so incredibly important to me this spring. So I wanted to read you a little bit about what, from my client's perspective, what was it like to be a dandelion? So what does it feel like? Soft and yet strong. It's a big stalk. It's a big flower stalk. Beautiful. Are you feeling the energy of the dandelion? What does that feel like? A deep connection into the earth. I can grow everywhere and anywhere, especially when I am well grounded. I can make beautiful yellow flowers that turn into these amazing seeds. The seeds are like my kids, being carried away and finding their own ways to live. What are you feeling now? Deeply grounded, almost as though I've turned into a dandelion. Wow, what does that feel like? Like being held in the soil safely, being able to grow and flower. Tell me more. A really nice feeling of being connected to what nourishes me and being able to produce the finest flowers as a result. Wow, how does it feel to produce a beautiful flower? Natural and effortless. And you just let it happen. It just feels like the natural thing to do? Yes. And what does it feel like when you go to seed? All I need to do is allow it to happen and let go. And it just happens. Anything else you're experiencing that you would like to tell me about? Just feeling well cared for, like someone is holding me. It feels like such a beautiful space to be. That just, for me, paints such an amazing picture of the energy that these beautiful flowers bring, right? Like this deep sense of connection to what nourishes you, being able to produce a beautiful flower because you are so grounded that you don't even need to try. It just happens because you're so connected to what nourishes you. I feel like there's much that we can learn from dandelions. And it makes me so sad to think about the amount of people that do spray chemicals on their dandelions to get rid of them, because so many pollinators do visit these flowers, so many, and it's really not good for them, and it's really not good for the ecosystem. They are here. They're here for a reason. And I think we could all use a little dandelion energy in our lives. I know I could definitely deal with being a lot more grounded to that which nourishes me. uh, um, so to add a fun perspective, I thought that it would be great to bring in the fairy collective and see what perspective they could give us on dandelions, how the fae see dandelions. So for those of you who haven't met the Fairy Collective before, they are a group of fairy energy that I do channel. So they are on the spirit side. They're not in physical form right now, but they are deeply connected to the fairies that are in physical form. And they're able to offer us a wonderful perspective about what these connections are like to the fae, as well as how that relates to us being human. Yeah, so I'm going to bring in the Fairy Collective now and see what lovely perspective they have to add to the purpose and magic of dandelions. Yes, hello, hello, hello. We are here. We are here. We are so happy to be here. What a beautiful question. Oh, this is so lovely. We are glad and excited to see more humans acknowledging that they are flowers. Everything in the ecosystem does have a purpose. They're not created for no reason. They're not carrying and holding this energy for no reason. Sometimes the energy that these flowers hold are very important in deep medicine, but nobody notices. So many humans spend their days trying to squash them out because they don't like them invading their yard. Some of the people that these dandelions try to invade are some of the ones that need their medicine the most. And I'm not speaking from a physical sense, while even though consumption of these flowers can offer different benefits to humans, the energy that they hold is a medicine as well. All nature, every living thing on this planet is a gatekeeper to an energy source. Every flower, every bird, every tree, every insect, every human, every fairy. We all hold and look after different types of energy. They all connect together like a web. Now, these energies, sometimes a creation of another being, let's say a plant or an animal, is here, not in a healthy sense, but because it is a reflection of the energy that humanity is holding. And there is an abundance of this energy. So sometimes it plays out in nature to express itself in a more natural and balanced form. There is a wonderful mirroring with nature and humanity. There's also certain energies which nature has been entrusted to keep and hold on to in abundance because humans have forgotten how to connect to these energies within themselves. And dandelions are one of these creations. The energy that they hold is deeply grounding and deeply powerful. Anyone that has tried to get rid of dandelions knows their strength. They are incredibly strong and incredibly fruitful. They multiply so effortlessly, so easily. They have no trouble creating abundance. There is much that humans can learn from their energy. Us Fae love to play with the dandelions. It is pure magic to us to be able to see those little tufts of seeds float off of the stalk and out and find their way on the breeze. It is such a beautiful sight. And we know that this image connects to a lot of people's inner child. As a child, you saw that magic. When you would blow out a dandelion and watch its seeds float away, it was brilliant. It was so beautiful. It was so magical. And we know a lot of humans lose that magic as an adult. What happens as you grow up and take something that was so beautiful and so magical and just try to stomp out its existence? We would encourage humans to try to get back into touch with the magic that they felt around this flower as a child, in the innocence of it all. Dandelions hold much support, much strength, much connection. Tuning into this beautiful flower could do everyone some good. From our side, there is much magic in nature which humans have pulled away from. There's also much purpose in nature. There are many things which used to grow in abundance because it was of great use for us to have it in abundance. And humans now rely on other sources and try to stomp out nature because it's a nuisance. Nature is not a nuisance. You will not get anywhere without nature. Connect in. Look for the medicine that it holds. There is much energy to be found. Now, of course, we would always say, do your research and be smart about consuming random plants in nature, as they are not all good for you. But some are. Some of those things that you call weeds and try to stomp out have nourishing properties. So research. Look into your connection with these things, especially the locations that you are. All parts of the earth have a native ecosystem. There's a specific balance of plants in all areas that grow naturally for a reason. The things that grow and thrive in the areas that you are holds a very complementary energy to yourself as a living organism in these areas. Almost as though things are being grown for you by some grand design. Do take the time to explore what connects you to your land. We will leave it there for you all today. As always, we are here if you have any questions about nature or us or the magic in both and how it's all connected in a beautiful glowing web. Goodbye, wonderful humans. Wow, I feel a little drained after that one. I always love the perspective that the Fae have to add, and I do love this idea of getting closer into touch with the ecosystems where we live to see what things grow here and energetically why. Maybe there's a reason that we should seek them out and live in harmony with what is grown here. We're being grown here. Maybe there's an important reason for us to connect. I especially loved what they had to say about, oh cripes, I can't remember what they said. Well, I hope that you all can find a little bit more magic and wonder in your backyard. I know it makes me feel absolutely amazing when I can look at these things that we used to consider annoying and instead find this deep, beautiful, energetic medicine of grounding and connection and nourishment and effortless creation. I hope that you can all look at dandelions a little bit differently now. Although all of that describing has given me a wonderful idea for a creation of a meditation. Look for that to come. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. May the Fae be with you. Bye.